Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Canto 1, Chapter 15, Text 33. Please repeat after me. Prithya Prithapi Anusha. Okay, let's read word by word. Prithapi
तथापि
अनुसृत्य
अनुसृत्य
धनञ्जयोदितं
धनञ्जयोदितं
नाशं
नाशं
यदूनां
यदूनां
भगवद्गतिं
भगवद्गतिं
शताम्
शताम्
एकान्तभक्त्या
एकान्तभक्त्या
भगवती
भगवती
अधोक्षजे
मोक्षजे
निवेशितात्मा
निवेशितात्मा
उपररामा
उपररामा
संस्कृते
संस्कृते
पृथापि अनुसृत्य धनञ्जयोदितम्
तथापि अनुसृत्य धनञ्जयोदितं
नाशं यदूनां भगवद्गतिं च ताम्
नाशं यदूनां भगवद्गतिं च ताम्
एकान्तभक्त्या भगवत्यदोक्षजे
एकान्तभक्त्या भगवति यथोक्षजे
निवेशितात्मोपरराम संसृते
निवेशितात्मोपराम संश्रिते
पृथाप्यनुसृत्य धनञ्जयोदितम्
वृथापि अनुसृत्य धनञ्जयोदितं
नाशं यदूनां भगवद्गतिश्च ताम्
नाशं यदूनां भगवद्गतिं च ताम्
एकान्तभक्तया भगवत्यधोक्षजे
एकान्तभक्त्या भगवति यथोक्षजे
निवेशितात्मोपरराम संसृते
निवेशितात्मोपरराम संश्रिते कृतापि अनुसृत्य धनञ्जयोदितं
पृथाप्यनुसृत्य धनञ्जयोदितम्
नाशं यदूनां भगवद्गतिं च ताम्
नाशं यदूनां भगवद्गतिं च ताम्
एकान्तभक्त्या भगवति यथोक्षजे
एकान्तभक्त्या भगवत्यधोक्षजे
निवेशितात्मोपरराम संश्रिते
निवेशितात्मोपरराम संसृते 1:15:33 word for word pritha
पृथा
kunti
कुन्ती
api
अपि
also
also
anushrutya
अनुसृत्य
overhearing
overhearing
dhananjaya
धनञ्जय
arjuna
अर्जुन
uditam
उदितं
uttered by
uttered by
nasham
नाशं
and
and
yaduna
यदूना
of the yadu dynasty
of the Yadu dynasty
bhagavat
Bhagavat
of the personality of godhead
of the personality of Godhead
gatim
Gatim
disappearance
disappearance
cha
Cha
also
also
tam
Tam
all those ekanta
take
unalloyed
unalloyed
bhaktya
Bhaktya
devotion
devotion
bhagavati
Bhagavati
unto the supreme lord
unto the Supreme Lord
Shri Krishna
Shri Krishna
adhokshaje
Adhokshaje
transcendence
transcendent
niveshit atma
Niveshitatma
with full attention
with full attention
upararama
Upararama
became released from
became released from
samsrite
Samskriti
material existence.
material existence.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Kunti, after overhearing Arjuna's telling of the end of the Yadu dynasty and disappearance of Lord Krishna, engaged in the devotional service of the transcendental personality of Godhead with full attention and thus gained release from the course of material existence. Purport. The setting of the sun does not mean the end of the sun. It means that the sun is out of our sight. Similarly, the end of the mission of the Lord on a particular planet or universe only means that he is out of our sight. The end of the Yadu dynasty also does not mean that it is annihilated. It disappears along with the Lord out of our sight. As Maharaj Yudhishthira decided to prepare to go back to Godhead, so also Kunti decided, and thus she fully engaged herself in the transcendental devotional service of the Lord, which guarantees one a passport for going back to Godhead after quitting this present material body. As Maharaj Yudhishthira decided to prepare to go back to Godhead, so also Kunti decided, and thus she fully engaged herself in the transcendental devotional service of the Lord, which guarantees one a passport for going back to Godhead after quitting this present material body. The beginning of devotional service to the Lord is the beginning of spiritualizing the present body. And thus, an unalloyed devotee of the Lord loses all material contact in the present body. The abode of the Lord is not a myth, as is thought by the unbelievers or ignorant people, but one cannot reach there by any material means like a Sputnik or space capsule. But one can certainly reach there after leaving this present body, and one must prepare himself to go back to Godhead by practicing devotional service. That guarantees a passport for going back to Godhead, and Kunti adopted it. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashrate Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Thank you, dear devotees, for your association, for giving me this opportunity to glorify Srimad Bhagavatam. So, every verse of Srimad Bhagavatam is as deep as an ocean. One can live one's entire life researching the meaning of that verse, and one will still find more meanings at the end of one's life. It's unlimited. Every word of Srimad Bhagavatam is like nectar. So we will try to get some nectar out of the Srimad Bhagavatam as is brought to us by Srila Prabhupada in his divine purports. Once upon a time, Srila Prabhupada said that my disciples should learn how to give classes on Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. He said that every word of a verse, it has so much meaning. What to speak of the entire shloka, entire verse. So if we try to understand every word, connect that word to other parts in the Shastra, we can get so much understanding. It's called cross-reference or threadbare study. When we pick up every word and we try to relate it to the other parts of Shastra. So there are some words here which I wanted to connect to other parts, such as Bhagavad Gita. There's a mention of Ekant Bhaktya, which means unalloyed devotional service. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita at many places that one can attain him only by unalloyed devotional service and nothing else. One of those places is Mam hi yo avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatitaitan brahma bhuvaya kalpate. This is in the chapter of three modes of material nature. At the end, when Arjuna asked Krishna how one can rise above the three modes, goodness, passion, and ignorance. So Krishna is definitely, conclusively giving this statement. Mam yo avyabhicharanya. What is the text? I mean to say the shloka number
14 verses.
1426 for anybody who is keeping score. Bhagavad Gita chapter 14, text 26. One who engages in unalloyed. Could you read the translation?
One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman.
Yes. So with full attention and unfailing in all circumstances. That is the stage of Kunti Maharani here. With full attention, we can see here Niveshitatma, with full attention. She engaged in devotional service and thus comes to the level of Brahman. Also in Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Brahma's prayer, Canto 10, Chapter 14, he speaks about, in Shloka 4, text 10, 14, 4, he talks about comparison of devotional service to other processes, such as mental speculation. So he says that bhakti is superior to any other process. So because Lord Brahma is one of the Mahajans, we can take his word. The translation goes like this: My dear Lord, devotional service unto you is the best path for self realization. If someone gives up that path and engages in the cultivation of speculative knowledge, he will simply undergo a troublesome process and will not achieve his desired result. As a person who beats an empty husk of wheat cannot get grain, one who simply speculates cannot achieve self realization. His only gain is trouble. Krishna says in chapter 7, text 19, Bahunam janmanamante jnanvan mam prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti sa mahatma sudurlabha. After many, many births, a person who is learned, he comes to the conclusion that Vasudeva is everything. Such a person, such a soul is very rare. He's a Mahatma. So we can become Mahatmas by taking the word of Lord Brahma, by simply accepting it and executing the devotional service. Lord Krishna confirms in 11th Canto, chapter 14, text 20. He compares other processes for self realization, and he also establishes that bhakti is the supermost process or the highest process to achieve Krishna. He says, 11, 14, 20, My dear Uddhava, the unalloyed devotional service rendered to me by my devotees, brings me under their control. I cannot be thus controlled by those engaged in mystic yoga, Sankhya philosophy, pious work, Vedic study, austerity, or renunciation. So bhakti is above all the other processes of self-realization. This is conclusively spoken by Lord Krishna himself and by the acharyas, Lord Brahma and all the Mahajans. So unto whom this bhakti is done? Bhagavati adhokshaje. This word is used many times. Adhokshaja, Srila Prabhupada gives a very beautiful explanation. So akshaj means something which is created in the material world. Um, so the Sanskrit alphabet begins with a and it ends with the sh. So a to sh, these are all the alphabets of Sanskrit script. And anything which is there in the material world can be explained using these alphabets. Akshaja. Ja means born of. Akshaja means something which is born from these letters or from the material world. This material world is called a world of names by Shukdev Goswami in the beginning, or by Sut Goswami either. I think it's in the second canto. This is the world of names. Nothing is permanent here. We attach a label to a particular object, it stays for some time, and that name is no longer valid. My name is Kushal Bansal, it is there for 50 years, 70 years, whatever is the lifespan, and then the name has no meaning. It is a world of names, temporary names. But Krishna is above those temporary names. Akshaj, he is not born of this material world. He's Adha Ukshaja. His Adha means above. So he's above anything which is there in the material world, or which could be explained using these letters. Such a beautiful word, adokshaja. We are using the same grammar. We are trying to explain Krishna using these letters, akshar. Here also we are using the letters of the grammar. But we cannot understand Krishna simply by learning grammar. When it is given by pure devotees, that same sound vibration can purify our heart, which initially binded us to the material world. Because this sound vibration is coming from the heart of a pure devotee. So we are hearing these meanings from Srila Prabhupada. That will liberate us. That will give us the mercy of Krishna. Although this sound vibration, we are utilizing material letters, we are using ink and paper, we are trying to understand with the material mind. But because we are following an acharya, the same thing will lead us to liberation. Hearing the stories of Pandavas, Kunti, Narayan, and all the pure devotees. Then there is a word called Niveshit Atma, which means with full attention. So in Canto 11, Chapter 2, Text 37, Krishna says another kind of investment. Niveshit, Nivesh means to invest. Atma means to oneself. So to invest oneself in something. In 11:237, Krishna says, Bhayam dvitiya abhiniveshitasya ishadapetasya viparyo smriti. That when a person thinks himself different or separate from Krishna, that is called dvitiya. One thinks himself in a separation, in different category from Krishna. This is one kind of investment, abhiniveshita. What it leads to? It leads to fear. Bhayam dvitiya abhiniveshitasya. Ishadapetasya viparyo smriti. Because one is turning one's face away from this, from Krishna, from Isha. That leads to fear. Yesterday or the last time when Vishal Prabhu gave class on text 32, there was this purport. Prabhupada says that the sun is always present when there is sunlight when there's sunrise in the eastern horizon. The western horizon cannot see the sun, but the sun is nonetheless present. That is because the sun is out of my sight. It is not that the sun is not there. So when we go for office, Vishal Prabhu leaves for office, I do not see him, but he's still there. He's out of my sight. Reverend Chaitanya Prabhu was preaching. He's out of my sight, but it doesn't mean that he's not there. Similarly, Krishna is there always. It is just that I am not able to see him. That's what Prabhupada said in this today's purport also. Krishna, along with his associates, is always there, but he's out of my sight. And how do we reverse that process? By investing our attention in Krishna. So that's again a reference from Canto 10, Chapter 2, Text 30. This is the prayers of the demigods to Lord Krishna in the womb of Mother Devaki. So there they say how we can revive our connection with Krishna. So they talk about Samadhina Veshita Chetasaike. So they say, O lotus-eyed Lord, by concentrating one's meditation on your lotus feet, which are the reservoir of all existence, and by accepting those lotus feet as the boat by which to cross the ocean of nations, one follows in the footsteps of Mahajans, great saints, sages, and devotees. By this simple process, one can cross the ocean of nations as easily as one steps over the hoofprint of a calf. So we can see here, Queen Kunti is reversing that process of Bhayam Dvitiya. One is fearful because one doesn't know that one is part and parcel of Krishna. She is executing devotional service, following in the footsteps of Mahajans. Bhishma is a Mahajan. All the Mahajans, there were so many Mahajans in Kuru dynasty, when all the great devotees of the Lord. So Kunti is following their footsteps and she is focusing her meditation completely on the lotus feet of Krishna. And for such a person, material existence is nothing but the size of the print of a calf. So There's another verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 7, Text 22, when Arjuna is faced with Brahmastra and he doesn't know what is coming, where is it coming from, and how can he counteract it. This Brahmastra was released by Ashwatthama out of fear of his own life. So then he prays to Lord Krishna, Krishna Krishna Mahabaho, that, O Lord Krishna, you can deliver a person from the samsrite, from the cycle of birth and death. Bhakta Nam Abhyankara, that you can give fearlessness to your devotees. So he is requesting Krishna to protect one from this cycle of birth and death and from that current situation. So these are some of the reference we can connect for this verse, which I could think of. But then there's so much more in this particular shloka. I also want to talk about the process which Kunti Devi is doing here. The beginning of devotional service to the Lord is the beginning of spiritualizing the present body, and thus an unalloyed devotee of the Lord loses all material contact in the present body. So, what is this beginning? The beginning of devotional service. This is the famous verse that is given to us by Srila Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhi. Ado Shraddha Tata Sadhu Sangha Atha Bhajana Kriya. So he says, in the beginning there must be faith. Then one becomes interested in associating with the pure devotees. Thereafter, one is initiated by the spiritual master and executes the regulative principles under his orders. Thus, one is freed from all unwanted habits and becomes firmly fixed in devotional service. Thereafter, one develops taste and attachment. This is the way of sadhana bhakti, the execution of devotional service according to the regulative principles. Gradually, emotions intensify, and finally, there is an awakening of love. This is the gradual development of love of Godhead for the devotee interested in Krishna consciousness. So we can see here that Queen Kunti is already on the stage of love of Godhead, at least on the higher stages, because she is able to completely immerse herself and she is able to quit her body. Although it is not explicitly mentioned here, but she's able to get rid of her material existence. So I'm sure she is also going to leave the material world soon. So this is only possible for somebody who is at a higher stage of meditation, just like the husband of Gandhari, Dhritarashtra. He gave up his material body by process of yoga, Ashtanga yoga. So he could practice that Ashtanga yoga at the end of his life. He could emulate his own body. So, and then he burnt his own body. And then he achieved higher destination, which is impersonal. But still he could not get the spiritual abode because he was not a devotee. So what to speak of Kunti, who has practiced devotional service throughout her life? We can just imagine how much more ability she will have to quit her body at her own desire and then go back to the spiritual world. So their life is a life of preparation. So they are already on the higher rungs of these steps of devotional service. We cannot relate to them, but we can just appreciate at this stage. For us, the beginning stage is Shraddha, association with devotees, accepting initiation from a spiritual master, then getting freed from all unwanted habits, and becoming firmly fixed in devotional service. This itself is a great success if one can come to that stage of being firmly fixed in devotional service. So there's a beautiful book called Madhurya Kadambini, written by Acharya Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, where he gives us those different stages before one reaches the stage of Nishtha, or firmly fixed in devotional service. So he's very realistic. He's not pessimist, but he is giving us what to expect on this path. It is good to know milestones while we are going to a destination. If we are going from here to LA, it is nice to know that we have this and this stops in the middle, like Bakersfield, or so many different stops where we can stop for a lunch or gas refill. So it is good to know the different milestones on our way. Then we know, okay, we are on the right path, right? So Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in Madhurya Kadambini gives us that this is what you can expect before you get to the stage of Nishtha. So do not be surprised when people are having difficulties because they are going through those stages. That's expected. Um, before becoming good at something, we have to become bad at something, right? We cannot become good instantaneously on something. I'm trying to learn Mridanga, so I need to practice every day. And I don't like it because I don't play very well when I practice. But it is good. It is one has to become bad at something before becoming good at something. So I learned few beats. I'm feeling good, but some beats I don't know. I know I'm not playing it right. But one has to be patient. One has to persevere. That's what Rupa Goswami says. Utsahan nishchayat dhairyat. One has to have enthusiasm. One has to have patience. One has to have determination. Patience is such an important quality. We know the story of Mukunda in the in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes when Lord Chaitanya was giving benediction, mercy to all the devotees, and devotees requested Lord Chaitanya to give mercy to Mukunda. But Lord Chaitanya said, I'm not going to give mercy to him because he goes here, there, and everywhere. He listens from devotees, he listens from Mayavadis, associates with everyone. Then Mukunda was very disheartened, was feeling so bad, and he requested devotees to ask Mahaprabhu when can he get the mercy of Mahaprabhu. And then Mahaprabhu told the devotees, after 1 million lifetimes or 1 billion lifetimes, you will get mercy. And the devotees became so discouraged. And how can they tell this to Mukunda? But Mukunda said, please tell me what Mahaprabhu said. When will I get his mercy? And they would say, Mahaprabhu said, after 1 billion lifetimes, you will get. And Mukunda was jumping, Haribol, Haribol, Haribol. After 1 billion lifetimes, I will get mercy of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya is so merciful. This is called Utsaha. This is called determination. This is called patience. One should be ready to wait for 1 billion lifetimes to receive the mercy of Krishna. Srila Prabhupada says that we can finish our business in this lifetime. That doesn't mean that we should not be patient. We should be patient because the training may take a lot of time. If we come to US as a immigrant, as a non-immigrant, non-resident, we establish our work, we establish our character, and after so many years, one is given the resident. We wait for 10 years, 20 years to be a resident here. If this is so for this material world, what to speak of spiritual world? We should be ready to give so many lifetimes for this process. So one should be patient. One should expect Lord Krishna's mercy, hope against hope. Even though one is not qualified, one should hope for Krishna's mercy. So I remember His Grace Harivamsha Prabhu gave us a series of lectures on unsteady devotional service, which is from Madhurya Kadambini, couple of lectures. So I wanted to go over those stages so we can take inventory where we are, and we should be patient. Okay, I am consciously incompetent. It is good to be in that stage rather than being bewildered. Oh, I'm doing this process for so long. Why I'm not a pure devotee? Why I'm not seeing Krishna face to face? Why they are not pure devotees? They are practicing for 50 years. Why are they not seeing Krishna face to face? What is my hope? So we should not be impatient. We do not know others' progress, and everybody has his own journey. So we cannot be impatient. We cannot be forceful in entering to the spiritual world. So it is given to us by Krishna's mercy. So these are the few stages given to us by Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur in Madhurya Kadambini. 6 stages of unsteady devotional service, from anartha nivritti to nishtha. So we have so many unwanted habits which keep us away from pure devotional service. So these are the 6 stages. First is called utsahamai. One is very, very enthusiastic. It's called pure devotee syndrome. So when we come in touch with devotional service, we feel so nice, nice prasadam, nice chanting, kirtans, devotees. And I think, oh, I'm a pure devotee and already. But it's a long way. It's a long journey for most of us, except a few. So why does this happen? Because I see improvements in my character. I see myself wearing tilak. I see myself rising early. I see myself behaving very gently, modestly with others. So I think, okay, I'm already a pure devotee. See, my character has changed so much. I'm wearing dhoti kurta. Offering my food to Krishna. I'm only eating Krishna Prasad. But I'm not superior. I'm fortunate. I'm not superior. I'm fortunate. So the second stage is called Ghana Tarla. Ghana means dense and Tarla means dilute. So sometimes I feel more enthusiasm. Sometimes I chant 32 rounds. Sometimes I chant no rounds. This is called sinusoidal curve of sadhana. Sometimes high, sometimes low. Sometimes high, sometimes low. Third is Vyuda Vikalpa. We have so many options to choose from. We are not able to choose how I'm going to perform devotional service in the long run. People are confused whether I should take to Brahmacharya ashram full-time service, or should I take to Grihastha ashram, or maybe I should keep working, take breaks in the middle. What is the right thing for me to do? So this is called Vyuda Vikalpa. Maybe I should go to Vrindavan and give up everything, just stay there, stay near Radha Kund, as recommended by Srila Rupa Goswami. So we are not able to clearly understand. And then there are 3 more stages. Fourth is called Vishaya Sangra. Vishaya Sangra. We are attached to the sense gratification, and it's a fight. It's a fight against the senses. So one identifies that one is not above the sense gratification. One cannot control the senses, but one can see that I'm dependent on Krishna for this. So one understand that Maya is attacking me, and I have weakness in my heart. So this is called conscious incompetence. I accept honestly. Krishna says in Bhagavatam, Swe Swe Adhikari Anishtha Yaguna Parikirtita. If one understands where one is honestly, such a thing is a qualification, and one should act according to where one is. One should not imitate the pure devotees. Krishna also recommends to keep performing devotional service while understanding one's lowly position. One should continue performing devotional service. That will help elevate one from sense gratification mentality. Fifth is Niyam Akshama, means I try to follow regulative principles. I know I'm not able to control my senses. Okay, I accept it. I'm honest, but I will follow the regulative principles. I will join an ashram, Bhaktivedanta Youth Services. I will go to bed early, I'll rise early, go for Mangalarti. I will only honor Prasadam, attend Bhagavatam, eat at a certain time. So let me follow the regulative principles. So this is called Niyamakshama, it's higher stage. So one lives in the stage of mode of goodness. So he accepts sense gratification, so much so is required for the senses so that he can perform devotional service. So he divides the day in chunks. When I'm finishing my rounds, when am I eating, when am I sleeping, waking up. So he's very regulated. In the sixth stage is Taranga Rangini. Even after one does all this, one is stay situated in the mode of goodness and one is performing devotional service in a regulated way. So now people will see this and this person will get worship, adoration, gifts. Prabhuji is so good. He goes to bed at 7, all his rounds before Mangalarti. Prabhu. so, so one will start getting adoration, praises. Then one can get carried away. Okay, yeah, actually they're right. I'm a pure devotee. So this is I'm driving on the waves. Taranga is waves, and Rangini, they're different. I'm just enjoying. One enjoys this adoration. There is one story that Harivansha Prabhu gave. One person is trying to get away from sense gratification, and he says, "This Maya has caught me. No, this Maya is not leaving me." So the sage actually holds on to a tree and he says, "Oh, the tree, leave me, tree, leave me, tree, leave me." And this person says, "Disciple, Maharaj, you have to leave the tree." So he said, that's what I'm trying to say. You have to leave sense gratification. It's not that Maya is catching you, you are catching Maya. So one has to be determined in taking shelter of Guru and Krishna. Then one can be free from Maya. Daevi hi esha gunmai mam maya durattaya mamevye prapadyante maya medham taranti te. So ultimately, what is stopping us from Nishtha? Lack of blessings of devotees, lack of kripa from devotees and from Krishna. Bhakti is not a product of austerities, bhakti is not a product of knowledge. Na sadhyati mam yogo. न सांख्य धर्म उद्धवा न स्वाध्यायस tapastyago yatha bhakti mumochita. So Krishna has already listed those. What was that? 11, 14, 20. Bhakti is not the product of. I cannot be thus controlled by those engaged in mystic yoga, Sankhya philosophy, pious work, Vedic study, austerity, or renunciation. It has to come by the mercy of Guru and Krishna. We'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I'm open for corrections and questions and comments. So please, Chaitanya, please share some nectar. Vishal.
I think we started the class. We said every word of Srimad Bhagavatam is it can be expanded upon so much. I was reminded of Radhika Raman Prabhu, how he did his PhD on a single maybe phrase, two words of the entire Srimad, of the entire Sandarbha. So he did his entire PhD on those two words for 5 and 6 years, wrote a huge dissertation on those two words. So it goes to show that every word of Srimad Bhagavatam, every word of what our acharyas say, they have so much depth. And then you explain how Anukshaya is Ruksha and how all of the permutations and combinations of words are, you can see the meaning in two ways. All the permutations and combinations from Ruksha are insufficient to explain the glories of the Lord, or you can see it the other way, like you explained to. So everything can be explained by permutations and combinations of Ruksha. And just from Adhoksha, you can get so many meanings, but the whole verse had so many distinct meanings. So that was really good.
Thank you, Vishal. Anybody online? Last reflection. Satwik Prabhu, Teen Prabhu, Adinat. Hmm? Yeah, it's good.
Where did you find that description of the Krishna?
Prabhu says in the lectures many times. I've heard this.
I didn't know Krishna was like.
Hmm?
Krishna is 2 letters.
To what?
2 letters. Anyway.
Okay, stop here. Granth Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ancha